When you hear that bell, it's time to go to What Is Story Say and click follow. The reason is I'm aiming for 12,000 followers. Hello and welcome once again. I'm Dr. Pauline Baird, a cultural bearer from the village of Buxton, Guyana. I tell the stories of my village, our family histories, our whispered stories, our practice, hidden, sometimes lost traditions. What does story say? Well, today's story comes from Japan, where I live. Let me tell you this. When I came to this country, I didn't know one word of Japanese. I had never heard Japanese. I didn't know the first thing about Japanese. I had barely met Japanese people. Didn't know about this culture, but I was here to live and work. When I first got to the hotel and I listened to Japanese on the TV, I thought to myself, I will never learn this language. It was so foreign. In many ways, it is foreign because there are 4 different ways we write. We write Romaji, that's the using the Roman alphabet. There is katakana, hiragana, and kanji. Kanji is the Chinese characters. So when I first got here, I met my neighbor Etsuko because we lived on the same floor. My condo was next to hers. So she spoke to me in English, telling me that she had once lived in America with her husband, who was a professor at MIT. And she had learned some English and she wanted to pay it forward so she would teach me Japanese. I was happy for that. So I would go to her house and learn how to say my name and everything. I mimicked her to the letter. So it was after the first year when I started learning English. So my ears was getting used to the cadence of the language. I didn't learn anything the first year. And the second year I started Japanese with her. She taught me how to say my name. And I would say it exactly. She said, "Watashi wa Pauline desu." Yeah, Guyana kara ikimashita. So I would say those things exactly the way she said them. So I guess I was doing well enough that people could understand me, but I had a problem. I used to use a Japanese book. And you know Japanese books, Japanese textbooks? This is an example of one book. So I would learn how to read and write in hiragana, katakana, and kanji. She didn't teach me that because it was more advanced, but I learned by myself. Now in these books, it's a strange thing that happens in these books. In these books, the first thing you learn is how to ask people out to drink. So my first impression is that these people like to drink plenty rum and beer and so. Because the first thing you learn is how to ask people out to drink beer. Beer, no miska. I don't drink beer. And then, kohi, no miska. Do you drink coffee? I don't drink coffee. You're asking people out to drink coffee. Ask them if they can drink coffee. Tea. Ocha, no miska. I don't drink tea either. After Allen Bush tea in Buxton, no tea for me. Sorry. So after a while, they would ask me why I don't drink these things. Well, I got a long answer, but I couldn't answer in Japanese because I didn't know enough Japanese. So I got smart and I started to show them like this sign, like religion or something like that, so they could stay off my back. So I got away with that. Well, there come a time when I needed to go to the store and buy things. Now, this book doesn't teach you anything about shopping till in the advanced chapters. And me, I need to shop because here's the thing that happened to me. One time I went to the store and I wanted to buy sugar. Well, no, I don't use sugar, but I wanted to buy sugar. And I picked up what I thought was white sugar. And I took it home. Something said, taste this thing before I put it in the pot. When I tasted this thing I had was salt. I had 2 kg of salt. I had salt for the next 6 years. Okay? So that was one of my big problems. So I would buy all kinds of craziness. Toothpaste, let me tell you. I saw this toothpaste and I thought, okay, the price was reasonable, so I will buy it. So I bought 2 tubes. You know, if you put on a glass of ginger ale and your mouth set for ginger ale and you pick up a glass of water, how it shock your senses? Well, that's what happened with me. I take out this toothpaste, apply it to my toothbrush, and put it in my mouth. Oh my goodness. I nearly puke. The thing was salty. Y'all ever had salty toothpaste? This is salted toothpaste. It got no sugar inside. It got no sweetness. But I didn't throw it out. I thought, well, it's an experience, so I will just use the toothpaste. And I came to love the salty toothpaste until I had my sister, try it and like it too. So I would take salty toothpaste back to the States for her. But here is my problem. I wanted to go to Tokyo by myself. Getting to Tokyo is not so difficult, but you have to go to a station called Ueno Station. My goodness, you never see subway like that. You never see confusion like that. There are trains going everywhere. And all I knew was how to ask to get to a platform from Etsuko. If I want to go to number 1 platform, I would say something like, Ichiban noriba doko desu ka? Number 1 platform, where is it? And all I knew was left, right, straight, here, there, and over there. Migi, hidari, masugu. Koko, soko, asoko. That's what I knew. That's it. And I'm going to Tokyo. So your humble servant went to Tokyo. But I had a confidence that I could wing it. So when I went to Tokyo and I stopped at the Ueno station, I didn't know where to go to get the train. Because you have to be on time because trains move on time. You just can't linger. You got to get there. These people are very, very precise and very prompt. And so I got there and it was madness. So I saw a man look me in the eye. And when he looked me in the eye, I said, "Sumimasen, excuse me, Ichiban noriba doko desu ka?" And I was not prepared for the answer. Japanese. I didn't understand a single word. I said, have mercy. What's going to happen to me today? I went to another person who looked me in the eye and I asked the same question and a flood of Japanese came. Well, I'm a Boksan girl and a Guyanese girl. And I learned, if you meet Bok people and you ask them where so-and-so place is, they tell you just down there. And just down there, 2-3 days you walk in your reach. So I said, well, I'm not going to be in this kind of predicament because I'm not understanding this thing. So I got to use my smarts. I learned that one dot build dam. So I can go one step. So here is how I enact this step. When I saw the other person and I asked, Ichiban noriba doko desu ka? And before the guy could answer me, I said, Asoko, over there. And as soon as he said, hi, yes, I was gone. I didn't even wait for the flood or nothing. I gauged where over there mean, and I went over there. And I stood up over there, and I catch another man passing, a young man in business suit. As soon as they lock eyes with me, sumimasen, ichiban noriba, doko desu ka? Hidari, migi, hidari, masugu, doko desu ka? And then he would tell me, well, go left and go, thank you, arigato. And I'm gone. And left him there. And I would go. That thing took me about 10 asking. At the 10th asking, the young woman looked at me and said, come, follow me. Follow me. And I followed her down to the train station. That's how I got through. Well, here's a funny one. When Etsuko taught me how to count, I was good. If you want to count pens, this is ippon. Long, thin things, a pong, ippon. Like cars and so on, big things like cars and machines and so, dai, ichi dai, ni dai, san dai. Well, they have counters for every different thing. It's like this book is mai, ichi mai, ni mai, and so on. So I think I know to count. So one day, she and I were going to the dancing class, and I saw three dogs. I said, Etsuko-san, over there are 3 dogs. And I told her that they are, I told her, Sanko, asoko, Sanko inu imasu ka? Are these 3 dogs over there? And she said, Poni-san, dame. No, don't say ko. Because I learned small things are dogs. Small things you can count as ko, sorry. Small things you use the counter ko. She said, dame. Piki. I said, what? She said, I have to say ipiki, nikiki, sanbiki. I'm like, oh my God, my, die, ko, hickey, picky, what? So I learned that I have to count small living things as ipiki, ni hiki, sambiki. So I'm confident now. I know small things is icky, picky, nicky. So this Valentine's Day, I had chocolates for my students. It's Hershey Kisses. And I'm giving out these Hershey Kisses to the students. I'm putting one on each desk. So me with my big mouth, I start to count out. Ipiki, nihiki, sambiki. By the time I don't say the sambiki, the whole class says, Sensei, dame. No, no, they said no, and people start laughing. Usually Japanese students don't laugh at you, but they laughed. And this class I was teaching, they weren't the stuck-up architecture engineers. These ones were the environmental engineers, and the environmental engineer guys, they are the loose guys. They just rough it, they say whatever, they're really fun. They're not too stiff. And they had to tell me, Sensei dame. I said, what do you mean dame? They said, not hickey picky and so on. That's for dogs. I'm like, no, but this is small thing. They say, no, this is ko. You have to say ko for non-living things and icky picky so on for living things. They said, how am I going to get to know this thing? I said, how do you know it? They said, difficult for us too. So that was, one of my encounters, and I had to laugh at myself. So when I want to break the ice with my students, I would tell them some of the things that I did that were terrible, that were really terrible. One time I went to a conference and I left my bag at the counter. And when I went back for the bag, the lady at the front desk, I said to her, "Anata no kaban onegaishimasu?" And the woman looked at me like, what? I said, "Anata no kaban." I was pointing to my bag, "Onegaishimasu?" And the woman started to scratch her head and go, like she had pressure. Then I started loud and slow. Anata no kaban onegaishimasu. And then I hit myself in the head because I heard myself. When I heard myself, I bowed my head, showed it back, the top of my head. I asked pardon, I asked for sorry. Really, I was telling her, "Excuse me, your bag, please." And she didn't understand, and I got louder. "Your bag, please." So I had to tell her, "Gomenasai, the robber janai. I'm not a robber." Because here you have me in this color telling the woman I want her bag. Instead of saying "Watashi no kaban," I say "Anata no kaban." So I got to figure out my anata and my watashi. And so that's one of the jokes that I give to people. I mess up terribly in this language, but I still try with it. I'm a lot better now. I don't use as much Japanese, but there's enough for me to get by. And I make my mistakes loud and proud. So if you get stories like this, let's talk the things. It's just a few of the ways. This is just a few of the ways in which I encounter the language and make life and build community and have connections with people and culture. A girl from the village. What good.